White Fang. You've heard lots of cool dog stories about their funny stuff and games. Dogs are awesome. Oh, here's a story about a dog named White Fang from a long time ago. The dog and his mom lived in a carriage. His mom loved him a lot. But one snowy night, they had no food. While White Fang was asleep, his mom went out to find some but didn't come back by morning. When the little dog woke up, he looked for his mom and found himself all alone. Despite heavy snow and rain, White Fang decided to search for her. After a tough journey in the snow, feeling tired, he saw smoke. Looking closer, he saw an indigenous person being attacked by a dog. White Fang helped the man and scared off the mean dog. The man was impressed and kept the little dog, named him White Fang, and took good care of him. They had good days together, and White Fang grew bigger and stronger, becoming pals with his owner. One day, they went to the city for food. There, a tricky person named Beauty Smith insisted on taking the strong dog for food. The man, hungry and with no money, sadly agreed to the deal. Beauty Smith mistreated White Fang, trying to make him wild for dog fights to win money. Beauty Smith wanted more money as he was too greedy. White Fang stayed strong and won all the fights. White Fang should fight with 4 dogs at once to make more money. Before that dangerous fight, a kind and strong man arrived. Punched Beauty Smith on his face and told him to stop the dog abuse and bought White Fang at a very high price. Then took it home. In his new home, the kind man and his wife loved him and were very kind to him. the wild dog became a gentle friend, looking after animals in the farm and taking care of other dogs. He lived happily ever after on the farm.
The Princess and the Frog story. Once upon a time, in a big castle, there was a playful princess. One day, she took her special golden cane to a pond. The golden cane was from her dad, and she loved it a lot. Near the pond, a bee scared her, and she dropped her golden cane into the water. "Oh no!" she was crying. A friendly frog heard her and said, "If you let me be your friend and bring me back to the castle, I'll get your golden cane back." After thinking, the princess agreed. The frog jumped into the pond and brought the golden cane back to her. But the princess broke the deal and said she could have done it herself and didn't want to be friends with the frog. At lunchtime, while the princess and the king were having lunch, a trumpeter signaled a stranger at the castle. The frog hopped in, and the princess, unhappy, asked, "What are you doing here?" The frog turned its face to the king and explained the story. The wise and generous king invited the frog to lunch and to stay at the castle. The princess wanted the frog gone, asking her father to throw it away. The king replied, "Promises are important, and once made, they must be kept." The frog stayed, slept on her sofa, roamed the palace, eating and drinking, making the princess even more upset. At night, the frog sat on the king's chair, angering the princess. Then the frog revealed the truth. "I used to be a prince with everything. One day I went hunting, saw a beautiful deer, and a fairy turned me into a frog for hunting it, saying only love could break the spell." Hearing this, the princess felt something strange. She wanted the frog to be her friend forever and really liked him. The next morning, the spell broke, and the frog turned into a prince, and they lived happily ever after. The Lazy Horse and the River Trick. Once upon a time, in a village far from the city, there lived a farmer and his very lazy horse. This horse loved resting and avoiding work in the stable. Whenever the farmer asked the horse to carry a load of salt to the city, the horse didn't want to do it. But after some time, he had no choice but to carry the load. One day, while on his way to the city with a heavy load of salt on his back, the horse came to a wooden bridge over a river. He stopped to look at the river and lost his balance, tumbling into the water along with the salt. After splashing around and getting all wet, he finally managed to climb out of the river. To his surprise, the salt load felt much lighter. The horse thought that the river must have some magical power to make the load easier to carry. So he happily continued toward the city. However, when he arrived and the farmer weighed the salt, he realized it was much less than what he started with, and he got less money for it. The next day, the lazy horse decided to take another load of salt to the city. He thought it would be clever to visit the river again and use its magical power to make the load lighter. So he went to the bridge and jumped into the river. After struggling for a while and coming out of the water, he found that the load was even lighter than the day before. With a light and easy load, he headed to the city. But when the farmer weighed the salt, he saw that it was even less than the previous day. The farmer decided to find out why the load kept getting lighter and followed the horse secretly. He hid behind a rock and couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the horse jumping into the river to make the salt lighter. The farmer was upset and frustrated with the horse's behavior, so he decided to teach him a lesson. The next day, instead of salt, the farmer loaded the horse with cotton. As usual, the horse jumped into the river to make the load lighter. But this time, the cotton soaked up water and became incredibly heavy. The horse struggled to get out of the river, and when he finally did, the farmer said, "I did this so you would learn not to avoid your work, but to do it correctly and completely." Wisdom versus power. The Lion and the Rabbit Tale. Once upon a time, in a big forest, animals were friends and enjoyed fun days. Every animal was living safely without any fear. Then, the forest's king, a great lion, called them together and made a scary rule. Each day, one animal had to go to the mountain's cave to be the lion's meal. If not, the lion would attack them. The first to go was a sheep. It walked to the cave, scared and sad. The lion was waiting and then attacked the sheep, making it his lunch. The next day, the clever rabbit was chosen. Feeling sad and angry, the rabbit looked for a way to escape on the way to the cave. It thought hard and suddenly got a good idea when it saw a well. After stopping for some moments, the rabbit continued towards the cave. The lion was mad because the rabbit was late. The Mad King, surprised to see the rabbit smiling and saying hi, he asked, "Why are you late? Don't you know I'm hungry?" The rabbit replied, "I met a lion even bigger than you on my way. I was scared, so I ran here. The lion said, "No way! No one's stronger than me here." The rabbit said calmly, "But I saw a stronger lion living in the well." The lion got angry, went to the well and looked inside. He roared, thinking a rival lion lived there. He jumped in to fight, but got stuck. The rabbit and all the forest animals were safe and free now.
Black Beauty Story. Once upon a time, in a big farm with lots of horses and animals, there was a colt named Black Beauty. He lived happily with his mother, eating and playing on the farm. The owner took good care of them. Black Beauty had a pretty white star on his forehead, which made him extra special. Children loved to visit, hug him, and bring him yummy food. Every day, Black Beauty grew bigger and stronger. The owner decided not to sell Black Beauty until he was fully grown. But when the time came, he decided to sell him to a man pretending to love the horse. Black Beauty didn't like that man, but eventually he ended up being sold to a tricky man and taken to his farm. At his farm, Black Beauty saw all the horses were scared of the mean man. They had to work hard all day, and so did Black Beauty. He wished he could escape. One day, a rich man bought him, but things got worse. Black Beauty had to pull the rich man's carriage all day. If he got tired, he was whipped. He had to travel long distances too. Then he was sold again and again. He had to drag a circus tent from city to city and endure mistreatment. Then sold to a grumpy old man. And after that, a cruel horse rider bought him. Black Beauty was in very bad condition with lots of wounds and scars. But when his original owner found out, he brought Black Beauty back to the farm, where he was cared for and never sold again.
This is the story of the jungle's king. Once upon a time, there was a cunning and ambitious fox living in a jungle. He was very gluttonous and went to the river every day for fishing. But he never succeeded. The fox was sad, but he didn't want to try harder or find better ways for fishing. One day, while heading back home, the fox slipped and fell into a blue bucket, turning his whole body blue. The cunning fox got an idea. Now he could go into the jungle and present himself as a unique, strong, and powerful animal, so everyone would be scared of him. The fox climbed onto a big wooden stage and gave a speech to the animals, announcing himself the king of the jungle. All the animals, except for the old and wise owl, believed his words. The owl was certain that there was no such thing as a blue fox. The fox demanded all the animals bring him food and entertain him continually. Despite the wise owl's attempts to make the animals understand that this was wrong, he couldn't convince them. The fox had all the animals serving him and even ordered the hedgehog to create a beautiful outfit for him. The animals got tired and frustrated under the rule of the blue fox. The wise owl saw an opportunity to reveal the fox's true nature as an ordinary, cunning animal. The next day, while the fox was grilling food, the owl poured a bucket of water over the fox's head. The blue color washed away, revealing the fox's true color. The fox became angry, and the animals realized that they had been tricked. The fox quickly ran away from the jungle, and the animals learned their lesson: not to be fooled by someone's words.
The Tale of Peter Rabbit. In a big green forest near a farm full of yummy veggies and fruits, Peter Rabbit lived with his 3 sisters and his mom, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontails. They had a pretty house under a giant fir tree. One day, Peter Rabbit and his sisters asked their mom if they could play in the forest. She said okay, but strictly warned them to stay away from Mr. McGregor's garden. See, Peter's dad once snuck in there for fruit, got caught, ran away, and left his clothes behind. The clothes are still on the scarecrow in the garden, and he never came home. The little rabbits promised not to go near that garden and just play in the forest. While playing, Peter gets bored and starts thinking about Mr. McGregor's garden. Finally, he goes there and forgets his mom's words. Enticed by the big, fresh carrots, he decides to pick and eat some. Mr. McGregor, watering the garden, spots Peter eating carrots. Scared, Peter stares at McGregor, remembers his mom's words, and runs away. He hides in a water bucket in the greenhouse, but Mr. McGregor sees him. Peter jumps away quickly, but hits the vine fences, falling to the ground. Hearing a strange laugh, Peter sees McGregor's cat making fun of him. Angry, he gets up, saves himself, and before leaving, takes his dad's clothes from the scarecrow. Finally, he goes home, sick and wet, wraps himself in his dad's clothes, and his mom cooks him a delicious, healthy soup. Peter promises to always listen to his mom from now on.
Alice in Wonderland. Once upon a time, Alice and her sister went to the forest to play and read a book. A funny rabbit hurried by, saying, "I'm too late, I have to get there soon." Alice called, but the rabbit didn't listen. She followed him to a nest, thinking it was his house. Bending down, she fell into a deep well. Scared at first, but as the well didn't seem to end and was too deep, she got curious. And eventually reached in a beautiful palace after hours. Excitedly walking in the hall, Alice found a table with a drink labeled "Drink Me" and a key next to it. Putting the key in her pocket, she tasted the drink and became very small. She looked around and saw a tiny door. Opening it with her key, she found a strange green land. Entering, she walked and saw the rabbit. It looked at Alice, eyes wide, and said, "I'm in a hurry, I'm late! Alice, save yourself, get out of here! Go to the palace and ask the queen about the way out!" On her way, she asked a colorful worm about the queen. Then heard a strange cat laugh. A purple, weird cat was on a tree. "Alice, find the Mad Hatter first to get his help before reaching the queen." Alice found the Mad Hatter having tea with a mouse. He just made Alice angry with nonsense and silly answers. Finally, she got to the palace garden and saw a guard dyeing flowers red, saying, "The queen only likes red flowers, no other colors." Inside the palace, a chaotic court was on. All creatures from the land were there. The rabbit cried, "I don't know where the cake is!" The queen was angry. The Mad Hatter pointed to Alice, accusing her of stealing the queen's heart-shaped cake. All these things made Alice angry, causing her to grow like a monster. Until her sister woke her up. She woke up from a strange dream. Relieved, Alice understood the odd land was only a dream. glad to be done with those crazy adventures.
The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy lived in a nice city with her dog, aunt and uncle. One day, a tornado and a strong storm hit. Scared, Dorothy rushed home but forgot Toto in the yard. She grabbed Toto and went back, hid in her bedroom. But the tornado took them to a faraway, strange city. After the storm, Dorothy and Toto went out of their house, finding themselves atop a hill with a kind witch and dwarfs clapping and thanking Dorothy. The witch said, "Dorothy's house fell on the evil witch, and we are all free from that cruel witch now." The kind witch said, "Dorothy, make a wish. We want to pay you off by making your wish come true." Dorothy wished to go back home. The kind wizard advised following the yellow road, looking for the Wizard of Oz, and taking the evil witch's shoes with you. Sure, it will come in handy. On the way, they met a scarecrow who wished for a brain. Dorothy suggested going to the Wizard of Oz. Further down the road, they met a tin man, and Dorothy made his axe move easily by adding some oil. He wished for a heart, thinking the wizard could help, so he joined them. In a forest, a lion was napping and roared when he saw Dorothy's crew, upsetting Dorothy. She shouted at the lion. The lion got scared and cried, so they thought the wizard might help by giving him a magical bravery potion. Following the yellow path, they reached the Wizard of Oz's palace. Given green glasses by the guard, so they had to put the green glasses on all the time. They entered. Dorothy saw a strange chair with the wizard floating above it. She asked for help, but the wizard said to kill the wicked witch first. Dorothy and Toto went to the witch's palace. A flying monkey caught Dorothy, took her inside, and she saw a bucket of water. Mischievously, she threw it, causing the witch to die. Returning, she found the Wizard of Oz sleeping. Behind a curtain, she discovered an old man who controlled everything. Angry, Dorothy told him to keep promises. Each friend got what they wished for. A paper heart for the Tin Man, a straw brain for the Scarecrow, a green bravery potion for the Lion. Dorothy was told to smash the evil witch's shoes to go home. Saying goodbye, Dorothy smashed the shoes and returned to her beautiful small town with Toto. Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, there lived a kind king and his beautiful queen who wished to have a child to fill their lives with happiness. After a while, their wish came true, and they welcomed a daughter into the world. The king threw a grand celebration, inviting all the townsfolk to rejoice in the birth of their little princess. As the party continued, the happy atmosphere was interrupted by the arrival of a wicked witch, who cast a spell on the newborn princess. The Witch Curse. On her 16th birthday, the princess would prick her finger on a spinning wheel and fall into a deep, eternal sleep and never wake up.
Ha 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 ha.
The king and queen were very scared and upset. A little angel approached Aurora and said, "I can't cancel the witch's spell, but I can change it slightly. You will fall into a deep sleep, but true love's kiss will break the spell." To protect their daughter, the king ordered all spinning wheels and needles to be destroyed in the kingdom. As the years passed, little Aurora grew bigger each day, and the angels cared for her, always by her side. Princess Aurora grew into a lovely young lady, eagerly awaiting her 16th birthday. But the king and queen requested that she remain in her room on her birthday night and not go out, as they wished to keep her safe. That night, Aurora saw a large door in her room, which she had never noticed before. With great surprise, she opened it and found a spinning wheel with a sharp needle. She touched the needle, she fainted and fell into a deep sleep. The witch appeared, pleased to see her spell had worked, and then left. The little angels placed Aurora on a beautiful bed. Days went by, and eventually a passing knight stumbled upon the palace. Accidentally entering, he discovered Aurora sleeping and found her incredibly beautiful. Feeling a deep love, he kissed her forehead. With the kiss, the princess's spell was broken. Aurora and the knight lived happily ever after. Forever in love.